I forgot you said about the stars. I was looking at this. Oh, I'm like, oh, she told me stars. She told me stars.
So I can just like
Yeah, I'll let
play
you
it
play
through
once,
one
yeah.
through and then you can,
Yeah, yeah.
then you get it. This one goes.
Thank you, Josie. Good morning, everyone. I know you feel like singing, so let's do it. Out of the Teal Hymn Book, hymn number 1017, Building a New Way. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. We'll also post the lyrics up here on the screen. And let's have a nice time singing together. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We can working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. So we can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Amen. Please have a seat.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia UU congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge, and become. Thank you for joining us today. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. My name is Whitney Godby. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. I'm a white woman in my late 30s with shoulder-length brown hair, and today I'm wearing a blue shirt with a gray sweater. Leading worship with me today is our sabbatical minister, Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Sara Lewis, the Director of Community and Faith Development. Here are a few things you should know about our service today. We're streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see subtitles on the screen in front and on Zoom if you're online. Over here, we have fluffy chairs and activities for your hands so everyone can be comfortable. We're a multi-generational community, and we value our young ones. Kids, babies, and teens are welcome here in the sanctuary, but there's also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing if you're interested. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Monica, and for those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those here in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship out in the commons. At 11:30, after the coffee chat, please return to the main Zoom room or the sanctuary for a mid-sabbatical check-in forum with the sabbatical committee. Also happening here in person at 11:30 is a UU The Vote postcard writing party in the classroom wing. The OUUC choir will begin rehearsing again on Wednesday, September 4th at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary. If you're interested in singing in the choir, please join us for our first rehearsal. And if you have questions, please talk to our music director, Troy Fisher. And coming up on Sunday, September 8th, our OUUC picnic this year will be at a new location. On September 8th, noon to 2 p.m., we'll gather for a potluck picnic, zucchini bread competition, music, fun, and fellowship at the Rose Garden Shelter in Squaxin Park. If you have questions, please contact Reverend Sara. There are many things happening at OUUC, so check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light our chalices together with the words of Deborah Falk. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world in crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together. And we light this candle in honor of the Reverend Mary Gear, our settled minister on this, her 10th week of sabbatical. We light our candle here each week to help us sustain our bond with her and stay present to the spirit of renewal. We know her matching candle will light her way home to us in November.
Good morning. I add my welcome to Whitney's. I'm Reverend Monica. I use she, her pronouns. I am a white woman in my early 40s wearing a black dress, a gray cardigan, a blue stole, and rocking an experiment in curly hairstyling. You can tell me later if I'm really rocking it. Our opening words this morning are excerpted from the piece Begin Your Journey Home by Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. Come now, all who are thirsty and burned, come to the place where cool waters and aloe soothe your bedraggled soul. Drink your fill and salve your skin, then fill your canteen and return once more to the struggle, knowing the well will remain unobstructed. Come now, all who long for the stars. Come to the place where that vision of infinity is written upon the people's hearts. Hold it until you've memorized the way. Set your compass towards hope and begin your journey home. Come, let us worship together.
Come, let's sing together again. I invite you to rise and let's sing together hymn number 1018, Come and Go With Me. Zipper songs, and once you start that first phrase, it's going to stay the same. And so instead of just intently reading that darn screen, how about turning and smiling at somebody? Get in their face and smile and come and go with me. You know, that screen doesn't care anything about you. It's not going to reciprocate any love to you at all. Let's try it one more time. Here we go. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound, yes, where I'm bound. Oh, come and go with me to that land. Come and go with That's way more fun. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sara. I'm a middle-aged white woman with dark brown short hair, joining you from my home, wearing a pink scarf and cat-eye bedazzled reading glasses. I now invite everyone who is beginning or returning to school this fall, people of all ages, to come forward for a blessing. Especially come forward if you have brought your backpack. And I also invite anyone who would like to receive a backpack tag for a student in their lives, grandparents, parents, siblings, aunties, uncles, friends, to please come forward and make a circle around the backpacks and the blessings.
If you are joining us online this morning, you can make a spiritual circle around your backpack. If you are here in the room and you have a physical backpack, come on and put it right in the middle of our gathering. And just make sort of a puddle of blessing, okay? Please join me in the spirit of reflection and prayer. Spirit of life and hope and love. For many of us, school starts pretty soon. Some of us are excited about new beginnings. We are eager to start a new school year or get a new classroom or maybe even move to a new school. And some of us are homeschooled and we have new beginnings too, just not quite in the same way. A new year means new subjects, new levels of things we'll be expected to do. Some of us are excited about new beginnings.
Holy Spirit, be with everyone who is looking forward to what lies ahead. Some of us are nervous about what's coming. Some of us are scared. Some of us try hard to be big and brave, and that's not always easy. For some of us, school is a place where we really don't want to be. Spirit of life, be with everyone who is nervous about what lies ahead. May each person's backpack be their friend, reminding them that they are unique and special and very okay. May their backpack hold the chalice tag that we will give them to help them remember how strong they are and remind them of the people who believe in them and will love them always.
Holy Spirit, be with these people of all ages. May these backpack tags help them remember their values and let their lives be guided by the principles of our shared faith. May this new year be for each one filled with fun adventures and special joys. May they always know that here in this congregation, they can find the hands of friends. And may love surround our young people, our people of all ages, this day and every day. May this be so. Blessed be, and amen. If you have joined in our puddle shape of blessing, and you have already received a backpack tag, you're welcome to return to your seat. Please pick up your backpack if you brought one forward to be in the circle. Following the service, please do stop by the table in the Commons with the green tablecloth. It has slips of paper symbolizing what you are packing with you in your backpack this year. Do pick up that insert for yourself or for the backpack carrier in your life for whom you have a tag today.
And now I offer this blessing for all of us in the season of back to school, for students and everyone. May all your tools of expression, crayons or otherwise, be sharp and colorful. May the existence of erasers remind you that it's okay to make mistakes. May you fill the days of your calendar with things you want to do. May you have tools to measure progress, but know that you set the mark for enough where it is right for you. And may your backpack not be too heavy for your shoulders. Blessed be, my dears, all.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. Passing the offering plate is never just a practical exercise. It has always been a ritual reminder of that form of love we call generosity. Let it be a reminder that after meeting our obligations to ourselves and our households and the communities to which we belong and are committed, we must still keep our capacity to give. The practice of giving, until it is second nature and first response, helps bring forth the realm of love. The offering collected here does two things. It helps support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by your regular pledges. The offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for July and August is the South Sound Reading Foundation, and this is what they share about their work. Since 2001, the South Sound Reading Foundation has brought the joy and promise of books and reading to all our region's children. Approximately 82% of the people served are low income and those who might otherwise struggle with reading and learning. Because many families have transportation challenges, South Sound Reading Foundation works with community partners to bring needed programs and opportunities to families. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you, Josie. Thank you, Troy. Thank you all for your generous gifts. We came together this morning bringing all that is in our lives. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of our community. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of community. Right now, I invite you to take a breath as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and our community today. We know politics is in the air in the United States and will be for some weeks to come. So we place a stone to acknowledge the difficulty during this season of lifting up our shared values while also demonstrating love and acceptance to those who have different political views. And we also place a stone to hold space for all those who have relationships with loved ones that require living in the tension of different affiliations or divergent understandings of the best path forward. For those who are joining us online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering into the chat. Those in the sanctuary can see your sharing on the screen. For those here in person today, I invite you to come forward if there is something you would like to bring into this community. You may place a stone into the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Please come up by the side aisle and return to your seat by the center aisle. Let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And we place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts, that we simply carry with us today.
I invite you to be in whatever way best supports your ability for meditation and prayer, however you are comfortable. And I invite you to begin by taking a few deep breaths with me. And think back to a younger you, one who faced challenges, who needed to learn things. Perhaps this younger you is a toddler, not yet walking. Perhaps this younger you is a school child, still learning to read and write. Perhaps this younger you is last week when you faced a challenge and needed to learn. Bring this younger you to mind and just appreciate. Appreciate them for learning, for growing, for becoming the you who is here today. And then I invite you to think of something that you are now challenged to learn, to practice, to grow into. And to hold your current self in compassion and care as you face this challenge. What skills, what tools, what gifts have you put in your life backpack that will help you face this challenge? Just take a moment to appreciate the tools you carry. And now I invite you to picture your future self, the one who maybe will have grown having faced this challenge. And send appreciation all through past, present, and future self. You are growing. You are learning. In that spirit, let us hold a moment of silence together.
We're going to sing together this chant written by Rabbi Menachem Creditor. If you could bring up the slide for the words. A little bit of Hebrew. Olam Chesed. And if you make it like you're making a K, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Try saying it. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Try it with me. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. And this is easy. Put it together. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Try it one more time. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. All right, if you move us to the next slide. You can add harmony if you want. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed We will build this world with love. We will build this world with love. Oh, we will build this world with love. And we will build this world with love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
Our first reading this is the story Pablo Casals by Eric Walker Wickstrom, written to be part of the Spirit and Practice curriculum for the Unitarian Universalist Association. Pablo Casals, born in Vendrell, Spain, to a Puerto Rican mother, is thought by many to be the greatest cellist who ever lived. His recordings of the Bach cello suites made between 1936 and 1939 are considered unsurpassed to this day. Casals' prodigious musical talent became evident early. By the age of 4, he could play the violin, piano, and flute, having been taught by the church organist and choir director. When he first heard a cello at the age of 11, he decided to dedicate himself to that instrument, and he had already given a solo recital in Barcelona 3 years later at the age of 14. 5 years later, he was on the faculty of the renowned Municipal School of Music in Barcelona and was principal cellist of the Barcelona Opera House. He gained international acclaim in a career of such length that he performed in the United States for both President Theodore Roosevelt and President John F. Kennedy. Yet even having attained such unquestionable mastery of his instrument, throughout his entire life, Casals maintained a disciplined regimen of practicing for 5 or 6 hours every day. On the day he died at the age of 96, he had already put in several hours practicing his scales. A few years earlier, when he was 93, a friend asked him why, after all he had achieved, he was still practicing as hard as ever. Because, Casals replied, I think I'm making progress.
Today, we are blessing and honoring students. And for many of us, that means young people. But as our reading about the cellist Pablo Casals illustrates so well, we are never really done practicing, learning, growing, and developing ourselves. We humans are lifelong learners, as new brain research backs up. It turns out that human brains continue to be far more dynamic and changing throughout our lives than we used to think. And so this blessing of the backpacks and this worship service is for all of us, of all ages. It's never too late to learn something new, to change and grow, to make progress with our practice. We are all on this journey of life, and we continuously change in the process. My maternal grandparents were my heroes in this regard. Now, my grandfather was an electrical engineer and worked on developing early computers, the ones that filled a whole garage. And my grandmother majored in mathematics in college. They were both the first generation of their German, Irish, Kansas farmer families to go to college. And they loved learning. I loved visiting their home full of books, magazines, puzzles, musical instruments, projects, and experiments. They were always curious, always learning. And even when they bored us grandkids to tears, like when Grandpa would insist on stopping to tour every hydroelectric dam on a road trip, or make us look at every one of his photos from his trip to Antarctica on a scientific research trip, I still loved their enthusiasm and joy. And I knew that I wanted to be like that, to have an active life of the mind for my whole life. But intellectual learning isn't the only way that we practice growing as people. One of the most important lessons that I learned while I was in college had nothing to do with school. I really wanted to go on this Unitarian Universalist Service Committee trip to volunteer on a Native American reservation in Montana, which was being promoted at my church. I couldn't afford the cost, and I couldn't get leave from my National Guard duties or from college. And knowing what I know now about white savior behavior and allyship with people of color and marginalized communities, I have a different perspective on the whole idea of that trip. Nonetheless, at the time, I was pretty bummed that I couldn't join in this trip that my church, the University Unitarian Church in Seattle, was going on together. So I looked around Seattle for something local that I could do instead, and I landed at Catholic Community Services and their volunteer chore services program. I was matched with an elder named Pat, who was low income and had no family. And I went to her apartment once a week and spent several hours cleaning it, doing her laundry, her ironing, etc. I found it incredibly dull and entirely disappointing as a substitute for a big and, in my mind, glamorous mission trip to some exotic place and people. Until I had a bit of an epiphany. As I was painstakingly redoing something that she had critiqued me for doing wrong, I just had this moment of realizing that no matter how dull this was, I felt my heart expanding. I felt it exercising my heart. I felt like I was literally practicing making my heart bigger. And I decided then and there that I would not live solely for a life of the mind, but would also make sure I always lived a life of the heart. So I still am incredibly grateful to that volunteer experience and to Pat, who gifted me with this opportunity to grow as a person. I'm even grateful that I couldn't afford that trip. It was all an important lesson in my life. It reminds me of the Maya Angelou quote, that we all do the best we know how until we know better. And when we know better, we do better. I was given a chance to know better and to do better, and for that, I'm grateful. Who and what are gifting you with opportunities for practice and growth now? What did you used to believe or feel or do that you now know better about? In what ways is your steady practice making progress? What do you need in your metaphorical backpack? Now, in so many ways, just about any experience can be a tool for learning. We can learn even from the crappy things. But I'm not wishing upon you a bunch of crappy and painful experiences. When I was in grad school, we laughed and called these AFGOs, which stands for Another Effing Growth Opportunity. Those AFGOs are just going to happen. They're a feature of being alive. No, instead, I would like to offer you these tools for your metaphorical life packs. Curiosity, compassion, imagination, grit, humility, courage, forgiveness, love. These are some of the tools that have served me in good stead as I keep on practicing toward progress. And you can probably name some others. So right now, I invite you to do that. If you're online, put them in the chat here on Zoom with me. If you're in person, speak them out loud. What other tools can we offer? May we all take from here what we need to keep learning and growing. Blessed be on the journey.
Our second reading today comes from Walking Towards Morning by Victoria Safford. You know, we do it every day. Every morning, we go out blinking into the glare of our freedom, into the wilderness of work and the world, making maps as we go, looking for signs that we're on the right path. And on some good days, we walk right out of our oppressions, those things that press us down from the outside, or as often, from the inside. We shake off the shackles of fear, prejudice, timidity, closed-mindedness, selfishness, self-righteousness, and claim our freedom outright, terrifying as it is, our freedom to be human and humane. Every morning, every day as we leave our house, not knowing if it will be for the last time, and we decide that we'll take with us what we'll carry, how much integrity, how much truth-telling, how much compassion, in case somebody along the way may need some, how much arrogance, how much anger, how much humor, how much willingness to change and to be changed, to grow and to be grown, how much faith and hope, how much love and gratitude. You pack these with your lunch and medications, your date book and your papers. Every day we gather what we think we'll need, pick up what we love and all that we so far believe, put on our history, shoulder our experience and memory, take inventory of our blessings, and we start walking toward morning.
Every day, we pack up what we will carry into the next part of our life. Both Reverend Sara and Reverend Victoria Safford remind us of this and give us ideas of what to pack. And just as each of us packs what we will bring for our journey of becoming, so all of us together are bringing along what will inform our communal or our shared becoming. Maybe you have heard of the concept of emergence. It's the idea that many individuals together are part of something greater that becomes its own entity. The physicist Nancy Ellen Abrams helps us imagine it like this. Think of an individual air molecule. It doesn't really have temperature. It doesn't have the ability to exert much pressure on anything else. But a lot of air molecules moving together make a wind, which can feel cool or hot. It can blow hair and leaves and more around. And this is true, too, of living things. Think about the way many individual ants make an ant colony, or all the bees that make a hive. And it is true also of people. Adrienne Maree Brown, the organizer who has written a number of powerful books, including Emergent Strategy, writes and speaks often of fractals as a reminder that what we do locally affects what we do globally. Fractals are the mathematical concept of something that is similar across scales as you zoom in or zoom out. You find smaller versions of the same pattern nested within, or you find larger versions of the same pattern as you scale out. Think about frost crystals. We've got an image up here to help you picture them. Or maybe snowflakes, or Romanesco broccoli. This is the variety sometimes called dinosaur broccoli, even though technically it's a kind of cauliflower. I am not a botanist, I don't name these things. And it has this spiky appearance. You can look for it at the farmer's market or in the produce section of your grocery store. And each of the spikes is made up of these little clusters of florets. And the whole head is made up of clusters of clusters. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. And honestly, economics tells us this too. I remember taking a basic econ course in college and hearing the professor say that once we understood the fundamentals of microeconomics, the study of how individuals make choices, we would understand a lot about macroeconomics, because enough individuals acting together essentially make up one big individual that we label an organization or a country. So in other words, what you do, how you learn and grow, all the ways that you choose to act, you are contributing to how all of us learn and grow and how all of us act on the world. Now, I imagine you've heard stories that illustrate the challenge of this, or maybe you've experienced it yourself. There are organizations dedicated to helping a certain population of people in the world, and yet the people who work in that organization may treat each other poorly. And that's not just ironic. That's a kind of sabotage of the organization's mission. It's hard to build an effective fractal of a pattern that you don't actually want to replicate. It's not good to tell people, basically, it's okay for you to be unkind to your coworkers, as long as you extend lots of kindness to the patients who come into our clinic. Really? Or saying things like, well, we don't worry about giving our employees medical insurance. It's more important that we lobby the government for universal health care. What we do scales up and scales down like fractals. So this year, our theme statement at OUUC is, we're a countercultural congregation focused on love, justice, and health. We put our values into practice. We're countercultural because the dominant culture, this one that we find all over the place, is not focused on love, justice, and health. It is focused more on money, power, control, selfishness. You can see many examples of that simply by looking around. But fractals teach us that when we live our values most effectively, we do them at every level that we can reach, and that extends their reach into the world. So for example, to put the value of health into practice this year might mean each of us paying attention to our own health, paying attention to our needs for rest, for nourishment, for a chance to play and be creative, to managing our energy levels, to being resilient. And then it might mean creating a culture of health together. The author Anne Helen Peterson, who among other things has written a book about the phenomenon of burnout, talks about the importance of guardrails. Guardrails, she says, are in contrast to boundaries. Boundaries are what an individual person can define, like I don't do email after 8 p.m., so you'll just need to wait for a reply. But guardrails are created by an entire group. Peterson writes, guardrails are things like, we don't do email when we're off duty. So if you do send an email when you're meant to be off, someone will take you aside to say that's not part of the culture we're fostering here. Guardrails are things like maybe you yourself work really well at 11 p.m. Great. But if you need to craft a communication at 11 p.m., you can use a delayed send mechanism so that it goes to your coworkers when their working hours begin in the morning. And that way, they don't feel any pressure to work outside of their hours, even as they respect the working rhythms of your life. Guardrails mean being very clear about levels of urgency. An email is not a 5-alarm fire. And you shouldn't train yourself to react as though it is, because that sort of vigilance is not sustainable. And then beyond a group's guardrails and the way that they can help manifest health by supporting individuals' rest and nourishment and energy management, a group of groups, like, let's say, a congregation, just as a for instance. A congregation can reinforce each other's guardrails and carry them out into the broader world to influence the norms of other organizations and other individuals. So just imagine if people began to say of us, oh, the Unitarian Universalists, those are the ones who have a congregational culture that creates healthy lives in every way. Those are the folks who care about nourishing people's bodies in a way that is good for the earth. They care so deeply for each other that volunteering is sustainable and rewarding. They know how to balance the serious, hard things of the world with times for creativity and silliness and fun. Imagine that. These are ways we can learn to be. They're practices. And in this season of renewal at OUUC, where we've been talking about the gifts and possibilities of these times of challenge and this season of sabbatical for our settled minister, we can renew ourselves as individuals and all together as we practice. Just as each of us is always learning, growing, and becoming, so are all of us together. So let us choose to renew our commitments to what brings more love, justice, and health into our lives, our community, and our world together. Let us take a moment for silent reflection.
I invite you to rise and let's sing together hymn number 295, Sing Out Praises for the Journey. If you are online and you have lit a chalice or a candle, please join me as we extinguish our chalice here with the words of Tess Baumberger. This is a responsive reading
Please respond to each stanza with the words, "We travel this road together." From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become. We don't gather this road, we travel this road. That's my mistake. As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration. We travel this road together. We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another. We travel this road together. Today, as we move forward, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts. We travel this road together. As we have gathered in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred spaces of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path. We travel this road together. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love.